I have to say, what do you want? Stop looking at me like that. I'm not gonna apologize. I didn't think this remake was that bad. Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to an all-new Talkin Movies. As always, I am your host, the real Geno Reynolds, and today we're going to be talking about a movie that I kind of was excited for and I was dreading, because we are going to be talking about the remake of The Lion King, which is not only my favorite animated Disney movie, but it also features my favorite Disney villain of all time, which is Scar. I will warn you, there'll probably be spoilers in this review, but come on, it's The Lion King. And also, in the low-budget live stream the other day, I talked about how I was going to try to talk about this movie, not comparing it to the other one. And after seeing it, I realized that that's almost impossible, because other than a few small things, they're practically the same movie. So let's just talk about it, shall we? First, so we'll set it up, even though, come on, it's The Lion King. It doesn't really need a setup. Young Simba is growing up with his father Mufasa, and he's learning, about the circle of life and how he's going to have to be the king someday. And then Mufasa is killed by Scar, but Simba's blamed. He runs off. He grows up, living a worry-free life. He's found by Nala, that he goes back. He saves Pride Rock. You know what's going to happen in this movie. So, where did this movie differ? All the changes that this movie made were very minor. A lot of it were, say, different jokes. One example is, instead of the hyenas calling Pumbaa Pig and they call me Mr. Pig, that joke was different. They call him fat instead, and there's a body shaming joke. There's the hyenas are different. You still have a female and two males, but there's no Ed. And the two males are kind of buddy-buddy, and those are the hyenas played by Eric Andre and Keegan-Michael Key. And then the main hyena, who kind of leads the pack, they set her up because they wanted Nala to have somebody to fight at the end. And that was, I think, the big reason why they kind of set her up as the head of the pack. So, Nala and, you could have a girl throwdown. And it was fine. It worked just fine. And that's what I would say about a lot of the changes in this movie. I would never call them better. They didn't make the story better than the original, but a lot of the changes they made were fine. They were just different. I will say this, though. The one big change that I did not like, there was a few I didn't just kind of like. And I was warned about this one. Rafiki is a lot less funny. There's just things like that. But it kind of balanced out because you had, like, John Oliver playing Zazu, and he was great. But the big change for me was when Simba's going back home and his father talks to him from the clouds. This is one of the scenes I was really looking forward to, because I was expecting this big spectacle of clouds turning into a lion and talking to him and all this stuff. And honestly, even though the scene is still kind of saved by James Earl Jones playing Mufasa, which, by the way, that was probably the best decision they made, was bringing him back, because I don't think I could hear anybody else saying those lines. But that scene for me was quite disappointing, because you barely saw the lion in the clouds. You still heard the voice, and the scene still works. But just every now and then you would see flashes of lightning, and you'd see the shape of a lion's face in the clouds. And honestly, it was kind of weak. So it didn't kill the scene, because, again, you have James Earl Jones giving his son a pep talk, right? But it took away from it. I was a little disappointed. But really, overall, I didn't think this movie was that bad. as far as reimaginings go, this is kind of what you want. I think Aladdin kind of did the same thing too, except it kind of tried to cram in that whatever that voiceless song is or whatever it was called. That, I mean, I understood them wanting to make her Sultan and all that. That was fine, but that song just felt crammed in there like it was being forced. So yeah, the movie itself overall, though, the little changes they made worked along with the stuff that was pretty much the same, and most of the performances are fine. Again, I really liked John Oliver. James Earl Jones, of course, is amazing. Eric Andre and Keegan-Michael Key, their parts were probably some of the weakest for me. They're not bad. It's just I was missing Cheech Marin and Whoopi Goldberg and Ed. Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa were pretty great. Donald Glover was pretty good as Simba. Beyonce was fine as Nala, but we all know that she was cast in this so she could sing a song. And really, I thought the song fit the scene they put it in, but I'm just not real. I wasn't too big on the song, but it kind of fit in. But it felt like whenever they did that special edition of the animated one, they tried to fit that new song in. Was it called Morning Report or something like that? It just kind of took you out of the movie a little bit. That being said, when they played the Beyonce song, it was when Simba was meeting up with Nala to go back to Pride Rock, and it just played for like a minute or so. And it just kind of, they fit it into the score more as opposed to having Beyonce sing it, having Nala sing it during the movie, which if they would have done that, it would have felt like the Jasmine scene in Aladdin where she sang that song twice about wanting to be Sultan. But yeah, the performances were good. I liked them. Now, the one that I was really scared about was Chiwetel Ejiofor, which I really like him. I think he's a good actor, but I'm like, you're voicing my favorite villain here from Disney movies, and Jeremy Irons is perfect as that role. Now, I'm not going to say that Chiwetel Ejiofor did a bad job. He didn't do a bad job. He did a good job, but he's still not Jeremy Irons to me. He was a little less cartoonish, which I know they were going for this more realistic feel because, of course, you have, though it's CG, it's photorealistic animals. And I know why his performance was less grandiose. I get it, and I thought it worked very well. It's just I was missing Jeremy Irons. I would have liked Jeremy Irons to come back, but again, if you were going to pick one, you had to pick Mufasa because though I could hear some other actors trying to do that part, not having James Earl Jones as Mufasa would almost be a crime. But yeah, I thought the movie looked really good. I mean, seeing it in quote-unquote live action, I thought it really worked. I liked the effects. A lot of it felt definitely shot for shot. I mean, I don't know how perfectly shot for shot it was, but there was a lot of things that, I mean, it's going to look very familiar. I mean, they sing a lot of the songs. They do shorten some of them. Like Be Prepared is very shortened. Of course, no hyena Nazi imagery. I'm sure Disney didn't want to put that in the movie again. I mean, just little things look different, like where Kid Nala is wrestling with Kid Simba, like she pins him in a different way. It's not like on his shoulders like she's a human. She puts her paw on his face, and just little things like that. The scene where Scar kills Mufasa, he does do the claws on top of Mufasa's claws, but then he smacks him in the head, which it's a little jarring, but I mean, it worked just fine because the scene still played out the way it should play out. But they did a lot of the same camera shots there, like where they were zooming out from Simba going, no! Just things like that. Whenever it came to whenever Simba's with Pumbaa and Timon, there's more animals there. but they don't really develop those characters at all. So but they just wanted to have some more characters there to interact with, this new lion that's going to join them and may eat them someday. But yeah, all in all, it's not a bad movie. If I have a choice, am I gonna pick this over the animated one? 0 times out of whatever number you want to pick, I'm gonna pick the animated version. But is it bad? Is it something you shouldn't check out? No, it's good. It's still a good movie. The story is still good. Again, I prefer the original, but I would watch this again. I'm not going to rush to the theaters to go see it again, but I will say this. If you're curious about checking it out, see it in the theater, because you get to see, what quote unquote live action Pride Rock looks like and things like that. It's still a solid movie. Yes, the purists will probably say, how dare they and things like that. I'm fine with them trying to reimagine something, but it's when they try to change it so much that it ruins or even just changes the original movie too much, or they're trying to apologize for something, or it's when they try to do that is when I get really upset about it. I was curious after seeing The Jungle Book. I was curious what this was going to look like. I'm like, wow, I want to see them try this with The Lion King. And of course they got the same director, Jon Favreau, and that's exactly what they did. And they made a wise choice, because he did pretty good with The Jungle Book and he did really good with this one. Is it a perfect movie? No. Are some of the changes they made better? Well, no, none of them are better, but some of them are fine. Some of them aren't good, but some of them are fine. And I still really enjoyed this movie, and if you are curious about it, definitely go check it out. That's going to be all for this edition of Talkin Movies. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Real Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and you have anything to say about The Lion King or whatever your favorite Disney movie is, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Until next time, I'm your host, the Real Geno, Geno Reynolds. Hakuna Matata.